We go. So good morning, everybody. My name is Chris Thomas. It's great to see you again. I'm joined here with Micah Patashnik again. Hello, Micah. Thanks for joining us. This is obviously the March monthly webinar that we do every single month out of the year. Our firm's 40W Advisors. We serve as the retirement plan consultants on your company's 401k plan. And as part of that service, we look to provide financial education to you every month, bringing to you different topics throughout the year that we know are on the top of mind of people. So this month, we're kind of continuing with what we talked about last month, in the sense that we're going to talk about how to get organized, monitor, and keep track of your overall financial picture so that you can make good, confident decisions throughout the year in the years ahead. So that's why today is titled Get and Stay Organized in Your Financial Life. One of the reasons why we choose this time of year to do this is we know a lot of you are going through and maybe preparing for your taxes, and that can be a nerve-wracking feat because you have to go to all these different places to find your 1099s or do some of your different tax forms, and you probably say to yourself, next year I want to be more organized and I want to make things a little easier. Well, we want to talk to you about some strategies to get more organized and share with you some tools that we make available to you at no additional cost as part of our service to your 401k plan that can help you stay organized. So a couple things from a housekeeping standpoint. One, everybody's joined in listen-only mode, but we'd love to hear from you. Please use the chat box or the questions box that are on the meeting control panel. I'll be monitoring that throughout, and I'll try to get to your questions, comments in real time, or we'll save them to the end. Secondly, from a compliance standpoint, everything we talk about today is for education and informational purposes only, so nothing should be considered personal, financial advice to you. At the end, we'll reiterate some of the different tools and resources that we have available to you. One of those is you're welcome to contact us and have a one-on-one conversation about any questions you have related to your personal finances. So I would encourage you to do that. Our contact information will be kind of throughout the presentation, but 40workplace at 40wadvisors.com is a great way to reach us. Also next month, April 17th, Thursday, April 17th, we're going to be doing a market review, talking about what's going on in the markets. It's been kind of a interesting and entertaining start to the year on a lot of different respects, as I'm sure many of you are hearing and paying attention to. So with all of that out of the way, let's jump in. And the way we position this today is really to go talk about 7 ways that you can spring clean or organize your finances. And just to set the table before we get into those kind of 7 very specific strategies or things to-do list, I want to talk to you about the importance of what I think is committing to a system, some way to commit to monitoring your finances throughout the year. It doesn't have to be every day. Probably shouldn't be every day. Make it once a month, make it once a quarter, whatever it is that works for you, but find a system that works for you as well. Throughout the day today, I'm going to bounce back and forth, dragging onto the screen our portal, again, that is available to all of you, that you can just reach out to us and we'll set up your own secure access to. This is where you can organize everything. I'm going to keep flipping back and forth to that, but it doesn't have to be our portal. If there's some other tool or system you have in place, great. Just the importance of committing to a system. So with that out of the way, Micah, you want to go ahead and jump into kind of to-do item number 1 when reviewing your finances?
Yeah, so item number 1 here is cleaning up your spending, right? Understanding where's your money going. And so, first and foremost, that is sort of reviewing your expenses, seeing what money is going to your mortgage or your rent, what money is going to, your cable bill, your utilities, things like that. And from there, also breaking down and prioritizing expenses, understanding, what is a non-discretionary expense, an expense that you have no choice versus a discretionary expense that you might have a choice to spend, whether it's going out to to eat, a vacation, things like that. And so by seeing the expenses as a whole, you can then sort of figure out if you're looking to save more money. We'll talk more about savings here in a moment. You can sort of understand from what bucket can you start kind of cutting expenses from. So Chris, you're going to show the budgeting tool that the portal has to offer here.
I'll show you the feature of our portal. And again, this is, take this for what it is. It's a way to kind of just cut in to see specifically some tactical ways you can do this. So this is the spending. You can see there's different features of the portal, but if you want to monitor your spending, the best way to do that is the spending feature. What this system allows you to do is it allows you to link your credit cards and maybe your primary checking accounts, whatever it accounts is that you're primarily spending from, and it will take a look at all your transactions. The system will then categorize your transactions into different categories, as you can see here: mortgage, bills, food, education, what have you. This is obviously a sample template client here. The way I have it set up here is this is just looking at their expenses over all of last year, all of 2024. So this is a great way at a very high level just to get, hey, what did I spend last year? Where did it go? And again, the system does a pretty good job of categorizing things. However, you can go in, and if you think something might be miscategorized, so I'll click into this unclassified section here, well, show me which transactions are miscategorized. Then you can go into them and you can see right away, oh, that check, this check of $112.56, well, that should have been, let's just say, Claire's, oops, is it not? Let me do it.
You change the category, Chris, on the right.
There we go. Should be Claire's soccer dues. Let's just say that's it. Now I changed the title. I can go change the, I could categorize it as kids. I could categorize it as activities, however I want to categorize it just to be consistent. I hit apply, and then I click a button here. And what it'll do is it'll automatically always categorize similar transactions in the same manner. So just wanted to show you this feature, which is a great way to just get a sense for where you're actually spending your money. And we think that's important. And one of the reasons why we think it's important is because we want to make sure that your spending is aligned with what's most important to you. So I come back to this quote that I use a lot in meetings. If you look at where you spend your time and where you spend your money, that's going to reveal kind of what your priorities are. So I think it's always good to take a look in the mirror by looking at your expenses, and then maybe just having a sense for where you're spending your time, and see if that's consistent with what's most important to you, your value system, your family, and what you're trying to accomplish. And I just think the very objective exercise of taking a look at your expenses and where all that's going can be a good start to helping you see if your spending is aligned with what your priorities are. Mike, anything else to add on that?
Nope.
Okay. Let's go into number 2 then.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Mike.
So the savings side, right? So, in order to save, you have to, that's why understanding your expenses is so important, because what's left over can be spent on your savings. Again, we talk a lot about, the importance of 401ks. What makes 401ks so, powerful is not only can you get this excellent tax-deferred growth over time, but it's automatic. The 401k contributions go right from, your paycheck into the 401k. It happens automatically. So to sort of kind of get in the rhythm of putting other sort of saving mechanisms on autopilot can be a great way to make sure that it happens. That includes things like your emergency funds, having some money set aside for if there's a one-time life event that occurs that's unexpected, making sure you have liquidity on the sidelines to cover those costs. Maybe it's, paying down debt. Is money going into that, monthly pocket to pay off that debt? If you have a college savings account, like a 529 account, you can set it up so, money flows into the 529 accounts automatically. So, no different than your 401k. There's ways to utilize, technology to link accounts into different vehicles to make sure things happen, automatically. Because again, the more you can keep things on automation, things like that, the more you get develop a rhythm, develop consistency, and that's how you can grow your assets over time. So that's where the savings component comes into play.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think taking, again, the 401k system, the reason why the 401k system was created, it was to automate savings directly from your paychecks to a long-term savings account like your 401k account is. The reason why that's been so effective, or the majority of people have the majority of their assets, one of their largest nest eggs is maybe their home, but maybe and then probably their retirement or their 401k accounts. And the reason for that is because they're consistently saving. Because once that money hits your checking account, and you have to make the cognitive decision to go and to actively save, most people don't do that. It just takes a lot of discipline, and it forces you to make a decision every single month or every single pay period. You have to take those extra steps of going into your checking account and then maybe moving it over to an investment account. A lot of us just don't do that. It's like waking up and going to the gym every morning, right? It's great once you're in a consistent, disciplined way of doing it, but it's very hard to do that consistently. So that's why, to the degree that you can automate things, take yourself out of the equation, it reduces stress and builds consistency. That's really important. Number 3, Micah.
Yeah, reviewing your tax withholding. As Chris mentioned, it's time of year where you are preparing for your taxes. Maybe you've already submitted your taxes. And it's important to sort of see, are you getting a refund from the government? Ultimately, why it's nice to get a refund from the government, what that means is that you've actually paid, too much in taxes ahead of time. You've pretty much given the government an interest-free loan. So if you are getting a large refund, maybe this time of year it's good to go back and review your withholdings, maybe decrease the withholding a little bit. So come tax year and for 2026, when you're paying taxes, you don't have that large money coming back to you. Same thing if there's any life changes, right? If you get married, have a kid, things like that, that can affect your withholding. Changing your filing status from single to joint can affect your tax situation. Maybe you're increasing your 401k contribution, so you have a higher tax deferred deduction that can influence your taxes. So this time of year it's good to sort of review everything, see how your tax situation looks for this past year, and make adjustments accordingly, so things can be smoothly throughout the 2025 year.
It's not just getting refunds. Also, if you owe money and you're wondering why you consistently owe money, maybe you need to increase your withholdings then. You can Google, if you just Google search IRS tax withholding estimator, there's some calculators that can help you do that. They made some changes to the withholding system a few years ago that really are kind of, makes it harder. It makes it harder to really pinpoint what your withholdings are. So you can work, I would visit the tax withholding estimator, and then you can work with your payroll, with your payroll team, your HR team at work, to increase your withholdings if need be, or decrease your withholdings if need be. Point being just to right size your taxes so you're not letting the government have your money for the majority of the year, or you're getting more of the money in your pocket rather than you're getting more money in your pocket throughout the year. Number 4. All right, we talked about income, taxes, spending and taxes. This is looking at assets.
Yeah, so inventorying and understanding the asset and liability side, right? We talked about your budget, your income, your expenses, but also understanding what you own and what you own is really, really important. So being able to figure out where are all your accounts, what are all of those accounts worth, whether you have a 401k account, an IRA account, a brokerage account, what's your house worth? If you have property like a car or a boat, what are those worth? Understanding your liability side, what's your mortgage, your debt, any sort of loans, credit cards, things like that. Being able to get a full picture, and then most importantly, being able to aggregate it into one singular location just helps keep you organized. And that's where our planning portal can really assist in doing just that.
Yeah, and I had a couple polls queued up here because I just like to always test the pulse of the people that are listening and see kind of where you're at kind of with currently managing your stuff. So I forgot to throw up some polls earlier, but here's one now. It's just, do you know your net worth, assets, liabilities? Is that something that you feel you're on top of? A lot of people have an idea, but there's different accounts they haven't checked in with for a while. So looks like we got a pretty attentive group here that does tend to have a good idea of where they're at. So, well, I'm going to close this poll up pretty quickly because you all did pretty well. 100%. Everybody that's on the line today keeps track of these things. That's awesome. That's awesome. Good job for you. Because I think this one's a good one. This goes back to earlier when we were talking about spending. Now I'd like to know, how often do you check in and track your spending? This I think is probably going to have a little bit more varied responses than the last one. Give it a few more minutes here, or a few more seconds here. Looks like okay. Let's see if we got a couple more responses coming in. All right, it looks like I'm going to go ahead and close this one up as well, share it with you all. Looks like majority is checking in every quarter. So that's great. It's great if you're able to do that consistently. Some every 6 months, and then some when we get stressed. Understood. So good. Well, thanks for sharing that. I think what this tells me overall is that I think we have a group that realizes the importance of maybe keeping track of these things, and that's great. And that's probably one of the reasons why you're here, is because you are, you are very cognizant of financial planning and wanting to be good stewards of your money. So great. Again, I answered the question earlier too. I think the answer was shared with everybody. The person that asked the question just said they had Rocket Money, which is another tool that they pay, that they pay a subscription for. Doesn't matter which tool you use, whether it's our tool, again, that's of no cost to you, and it's part of what we provide to your company, or any tool that works for you. That's the most important thing. So go ahead, Michael. Let's wrap up with 5, 6, 7 here.
Yeah. So the insurance side, right? Protecting what your assets are is very, very important. And this is always a good time to start reviewing if you own a home, if you're a renter, what coverage do you have, what truly is protected. At the same time, what sort of liability do you have? If something were to happen, how much insurance you have to protect you if you're sued for something. That's very, very important. And especially as your net worth increases, that liability you have becomes more and more important. So that's when you can start looking at maybe an umbrella policy on top of your homeowner's insurance can be something that could be valuable as well. And then not just on the house side of the ledger, but also thinking about if something were to happen to you, whether you get disabled or something tragic happens and you pass away, those that are reliant on your income stream, how are they going to be protected? And that's where things like life insurance and disability insurance become very, very important. Is again, standard of living might stay the same for your loved ones, but your income goes away. So how is that income replaced? And so life insurance provides that, and disability insurance covers sort of the cost or the income replacement if you were to lose your job because you are disabled. Long-term care insurance is something that is for later in life, but if you are young, it becomes much less expensive to get it at a younger age. So those are all things to utilize to make sure that your assets are protected and your loved ones are taken care of.
Yeah, and here's the way I think of this. Right now, homeowners insurance, auto insurance, these things have gone up a lot year over year. I don't know if you've gotten your renewal bills recently. The coverage has gone way up. It has to do with housing prices being higher. Therefore, the replacement value of, if your house burned down, of having to rebuild your house, that's higher. That's also true if material costs go up, lumber costs, everything else. If it goes up, then you can expect your insurance rates to go up because, again, the cost to rebuild your house is going to be higher. So the insurance company adjusts your premiums accordingly. Auto insurance, I saw a big increase in my personal auto insurance rates. I called up the insurance people. I said, what's going on? And they said that because of all the technology that's in cars today, even small fender benders tend to have a higher cost to for repairs, because if the cameras, the backup cameras, or any of the technology pieces, they're just really expensive to replace. So basically, I had to come clean that I did kind of back into somebody at one point. I thought it was a minor thing, but apparently a little camera on the front of the car fell off, and it turned out to be an expensive repair. Bottom line is, with the cost increasing, I think it can be worthwhile to go out and shop your coverages every year or two to see if you can reduce the cost that you're paying on your homeowners or your auto insurance. The other things that Micah mentioned, the life, disability, long-term care, a lot of those can be if you've had life changes. Family's gotten bigger, then maybe you have more people that you need to protect. So again, because the marketplace changes with insurance, as I mentioned with homeowners and auto, and because your life changes, that's the reasons to go review your insurance coverages.
Yep, absolutely. Next one here is utilizing technology, right? Sort of the theme of a lot of what we've been talking about is utilizing technology to keep track of things, automate, make sure you're having a balanced budget. You can set alerts as different levels of spending can occur depending on different credit cards, bank accounts, things like that. So utilizing the technology at your resource can be very, very valuable.
Here's one of the things that I think is cool about our system, again, or other systems you might be aware of, and that's that if you create a budget, so you have your spending, which we looked at before, which categorizes your expenses, and then you create a budget. And this is a totally make-believe budget, but let's just say the budget, this budget here says $700 a month for food. Well, once you get and I'll just go to, see if this works better. So once you get to a certain period, so once you get to that, once you get about 75% of the way towards your budgeted amount, that's where this line here is, you'll get an email. You can set it up so our system will email you. And it'll just be, hey, Chris, it's March 20th, and you're 80% of the way towards what you wanted to spend on food. It's just sort of a reminder to say, oh, okay, I thought maybe I was getting a little, things were going a little more, trending a little more expensive this month. Maybe I need to cut it back for the next couple of months or for the next couple of weeks to hit my goal. There's little things like that. That's just one small example, but there's little things like that that you can use just to introduce some more automation into your life, which I think maybe all of us can benefit a little bit. There's this whole trend towards AI that's kind of, you may have heard about it, that's kind of leading us in that direction. Let me jump in with another poll here real quick, and that's to get back to this idea of technology. And the question is, do you currently use an online tool to monitor your finances? This one's pretty interesting. Waiting for a few more to pop in here and provide their answers. So the question is, do you currently use an online tool to help monitor your finances? It could be monitoring your spending, it could be monitoring your net worth. All right, well, this one's 50-50. So we got a 50-50 response rate on this one. So great, glad that for those that are using a tool, and again, for those that need a tool, if you want to kick the tires on ours, sure, let us know. Or if you want some suggestions for some other ones, don't hesitate to reach out. So let's go ahead and wrap up with the organization here, Micah.
Yeah, so last is sort of, keeping everything in that organizational theme, looking at all your paper files, right? You probably have paper files of many different documents, whether it's property titles and insurance documents, estate documents, a marriage certificate, birth certificates, all these sort of paper files that you have. Well, you can utilize different sort of cloud storages, and our portal has a cloud storage where you can upload everything into the portal and keep everything in a singular location. That way you have everything in one place. It's easy to find. You don't have to go digging through the folders that are underneath the bed to go find where's that marriage certificate that I have that I need to use for X, Y, and Z. So having the ability to keep everything in a singular location within the cloud storage can be very valuable, across the board from an organizational standpoint.
Yeah, Google Drive, Dropbox, whatever your filing system is, having everything in one place, good idea. If something happens to you, people need to know where to go. So that's just a quick review for kind of a checklist of things of, well, maybe finances are top of mind because you're doing your taxes. Review your income and expenses, automate your savings, check out on your tax withholdings if you realize you're going to get a bunch of money back, or if you owe a lot of money during this tax season. Take a moment to review your tax withholdings. If you want to talk about any of these things, about how to execute on any of them with us, just set up a time. We'll be glad to talk with you about it. Take inventory of your assets. Just what do you, don't forget, remember that 401k plan from 3 employers ago or what have you, and make sure you just once in a while take inventory of everything that you've accumulated. Review your insurances, especially if something's changed in your life, or if you've noticed your premiums have gone way up on some of your existing insurances. Tap into technology just as a way to keep you engaged and kind of induce some additional discipline. And then, paper files you have laying around, there's no better time than today to get a scanner and start scanning things into a share file and letting some other people know where those documents are, so that if something happens to you, they can get their hands on them. So with that, I just want to wrap up. Again, free to ask any, answer any questions you might have here. As I mentioned, next month, April 17th, we're going to, at 11:30, we're going to be doing a market review. We're going to be looking at what happened in the markets over the first quarter of this year. And then, as always, we're going to kind of couple that with how you, as a long-term investor in your 401k plan, may want to think about the investment markets in your long-term savings strategy. You can see a full list of our upcoming webinars on our website, 40workplace.com. You can see some more tools there as well, and reach out to us. You can reach out to us there, or just send us an email at 40workplace, 40wadvisors.com. Let us know how we can help you, whether it's setting up a 30-minute time to do a Zoom meeting and talk, or connecting you with some of our tools. Just let us know. There'll be a survey in the follow-up email to this as well, where you can request access to the portal that we demonstrated today. So if nobody has any questions, we'll wrap up this month's presentation, and we'll look forward to talking to you next month. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Take care.